Hey, I wanted to do something different today. It's probably going to sound like an addict, but there still hasn't been an ROR update. The final boss has kind of really turned me off playing that game anyway, and it seems like there's just like not much interest in it. I did put up a few videos, I think the overview and one of the first like full runs that I uploaded got some pretty decent exposure, but a lot of other people just don't really seem to like watching the other stuff, so I don't know what I'm going to do with that game. I'm definitely still going to play it. I think that they're going to update it and fix some of the problems that I have with it, and I'll enjoy playing it a lot like I used to. But right now, it's just that final boss just kind of kills my interest. Now, Drifting Lands it has had a bunch of issues. A lot of people have expressed, and they've released a roadmap, and they've actually made some changes since the last time I played. I think I could actually pull it up here. I don't know if it's going to open up a page or something. Oh yeah, it opens up a page. I can't show it on the stream, but they've changed quite a few things. The most notable thing they've changed, I haven't even tried it yet, I just turned on the game after the patch, is they've added a slow move feature, which is one reason why I stopped. They have, you know, the bullet hell picks up pretty quickly, but you were not really able to dodge through most of it. And obviously this game is more balanced towards the RPG features, or the RPG elements. So you have, you know, patterns that are basically undodgeable unless you use your skills and you have a good build. It's obviously the way it's supposed to be. Tyrian was the same way. You know, Tyrian, you got to like the a couple loops through that, it would get to the point where you pretty much had to use the cheap stuff. You couldn't really diversify anymore because the game was not really balanced for that. Tyrian is obviously not as professionally designed as this was. Tyrian came out like 22 years ago, so things have changed. I think a lot of the hatred or the negativity that people have towards this game is that Tyrian in general is an archetype or a type of shmup, or I guess you could call it a subgenre of shmups that's been largely unexplored. Now, we've had so many subgenres of shmups since then. You have the more traditional ones, you have twin stick and score-based arcade ones, and bullet hell, which is arguably the most popular one now. The problem with bullet hell games is that there's a lot of things that have to be tuned perfectly, otherwise they feel completely off and they're just not fun to experience. But Tyrian-like games where you have a lot of customization, there's more of an emphasis on your build and, you know, basically your character, your ship, than just your base skill. There haven't really been too many games like that, so this comes out 22 years after Tyrian did, and people are wondering what it is and why it's not just a, you know, a 30-minute arcade game. I think the game itself is fun, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to play through one quick level here. I may have turned down the sound too much, but I wanted to make sure that you guys could hear me on the mic. Now, I thought about playing this on stick, but the problem is that you have to, all the face buttons are used for your skills. I don't think there's really an easier way to map them. So you would have probably the 6 button on your stick on a normal like fighting game layout, like the roundhouse button would pretty much be held down like the entire time, and you would have to use another finger to use your skills. I'm not sure how feasible it would be. I will probably try that out in the future and then maybe get back to you guys. So let me find a quick level to do here. Alright, let's try this build. Ah, so there's the slow moving. So this ship, you get the focus for grazing bullets. So now that you can actually, you have a slow move button like you would with like a cave shmup or something, it's actually more feasible to do that. really don't know if you would need the precision of an arcade stick to play this. I think the game is it's, you know, lax enough that it doesn't really seem like it would be necessary, but I could be wrong. I have seen the end game of this. There's someone who plays on Twitch, and he pretty much has like a really optimized build. It doesn't seem like you really need it. At that point, the screen's like full of bullets, so I don't know how much the added precision of an arcade stick would really help. I will probably test that out. As a Tyrian fan, I know you know, a lot of people didn't play that game. It is pretty old. It's kind of odd that a lot of people have not played it because it's been free on GOG for a couple years, and the developer made it open source I think about a decade ago. Yeah, but it still seems to be a largely unknown game in this age, which is kind of a shame. I think it's a really great game. You know, shmups have been around pretty much as long as video games have, so they've been run through the ground just as much as, like, you know, brown first-person shooters have, and you know, boring open-world games. Like, they've been around a long time. I think Tyrian was one of the first games to, like, really kind of break a lot of the tropes and do something different with a tried-and-true formula in that genre. But the problem is, like I said, there's just not much of a renowned for it anymore. Obviously back then PC gaming was much different than it is now. PC gaming was pretty much just a lot of shareware games that you'd play and a lot of them, you know, they tried to mimic what was on consoles because consoles were king back then. But they were of varying quality. I can speak from experience. You know, I had a Super Nintendo, you know, an NES, and I had my mom's PC that I could play on, and a lot of times the shareware games were nowhere near as good as what you could play on console. But there were a couple gems like Tyrian that you could play that were, I'd say, on par, if not better. There wasn't anything like Tyrian on a console back then, that's for sure. One thing they've talked about addressing in their roadmap is having an easier way to navigate the menus with the controller. Because right now you pretty much have to you have to move it like a mouse pointer, which is kind of awkward. I don't mind it too much, but it's definitely not as snappy as the original Tyrian was with the menus. Alright, so that's a little update on this. I know it's not terribly exciting. This game, I don't know how much of the spectator game this is. I think at a high level it's probably really fun, but it obviously takes a lot of grinding to get there, and I think that people are just turned off by the grinding. But at the same time, they very clearly talk about and they explain that this is not an arcade shmup. It's not a game that you finish in half an hour and then, you know, either go into high level stuff or just stop playing. It's not that kind of game. It's more about, you know, making a fun build. It's no different than, like, you know, other grindy games. It's just the difference is that it's a shmup, and it's a horizontal shmup, which makes it a little different from Tyrian. The game obviously has heavy inspiration from there. I think the game is fun. A lot of the issues that people have with it, they've already talked about fixing. They've already done some pretty significant changes to the builds. So we'll see what happens. I'll probably play this some more casually throughout the month. I actually did get some, I have some Amazon credit that I'm going to get from a bunch of stuff I have lying around my room that's pretty much all been rendered obsolete by recent ports. Both my versions of Bayonetta, for instance, I think I can get like $10 for those or something. They're obviously both useless now. The game is on PC, and hopefully we'll get a budding, you know, actual gameplay mod scene soon. I have a bunch of stuff to trade in, so I am going to get Marvel Infinite. I decided that, you know, with all my experience in tag combo Muso games, it's probably going to be a good fit for me. The demo is, from what I hear, is not a very good representative of the game. It's kind of, apparently it's like 6 months old. A lot of the problems have been fixed. The game looks better. I think it's right up my alley. I would like to get back into fighting games because they're definitely something good to fall back on. Like right now, for instance, there's not really a whole lot going on in the gaming world, at least for me. There's obviously a lot going on, but in terms of the things that I'm interested in, there's pretty much nothing. So I think it'll be a good fit. I don't really know what I'm doing past September, so I think it'll be good to just have something to play. With the Amazon credit, I'll be able to get the game for free. So that's what I'm going to be doing in September. East 8, I'll have to see if I can afford that. We'll see what's going on with the rest of my expenses. But yeah, there's a quick little Drifting Lands update. I'll probably play this intermittently throughout the rest of the month. Catch you guys later. Peace.